and we'll go ahead and call this regular meeting of Fairfield City Council to order for Monday, April 13th, 2026. With that, Councilmember Bezel, will you lead us in a prayer and a pledge of allegiance, please?
With pleasure. Heavenly Father, we gather today with a shared purpose to serve our community with integrity and care. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, clarity in our discussions, and respect for one another's perspectives. Help us to listen thoughtfully, act justly, and lead with humility. May our work today contribute to the well-being and unity of those we serve. Amen.
Thank you, Council Member. Madam Clerk, we have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Bessel? Here. Councilmember Paulus? Councilmember Pennington? Here. Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Myers?
Here.
Councilmember Brill? Councilmember Davidson?
We have a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember Paulus. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next, are any agenda modifications for tonight? Seeing none, do we have a request for an executive session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. You consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, pending or imminent litigation with attorney, to consider the appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official, and to consider the purchase or sale of a property for public purposes. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for executive sessions for the reasons stated by the city manager. Madam Clerk, we have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bessel?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Myers?
Yes.
Councilmember Brill? Councilmember Davidson?
All are in favor, and the executive session will follow this meeting. Next, citizen comments. Is there anyone here that wants to address council? Please.
Yes, my name's Carol Fry, and
your
I'd like
address,
to get
please, for
some
the record?
additional information on.
Excuse me, Carol, could we get your address too
Oh,
for the
yes.
record?
6110 Primrose Lane.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. The standing of the Marsh Park, Marsh Lake. Could you just, would like to find out where that stands, and is that committed in stone?
Well, first, I think if you get on the website, you can
Yes.
see the presentation of what we're planning on
Right.
doing.
Exactly.
And I'll be honest, I know some people here aren't going to like this, but council is in favor of this. I think the majority of the residents are in favor of it, and we're moving forward.
Okay.
And we're going to move forward at warp speed. Don't speak while I'm speaking. I'm not going to put up with that. Now, we have been planning this for over 30 years, and I've seen the Facebook post and all these things. This is a beautiful program, and when I talk to people, and I talk to a lot of people, and I explain the facts, the truth, not the fake news, people love this idea. It's going to attract and retain people, and we are going to move forward at warp speed as far as I'm concerned to get this done. So y'all can complain, petitions, whatever you want to do, but we are moving forward on this. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of public discussion on Marsh Lake. We're doing it. It's that simple. It's moving forward.
Mr. Mayor, let me.
Yes,
Okay.
Let me add to your point here.
Yeah.
The city of Fairfield never goes through large developments like this in a vacuum, ever. In this particular item with Marsh Lake, this is the single largest, and I've been in council a long time, that I have ever seen a public education as well as a public survey that was put out. Well over, I think, Adam, it's probably close to 890 respondents to a survey, which is typically never the case with any surveys that you see. All responded. And I'm looked through these, and by the most part, they are all very positive from a progressive standpoint of moving the city to something that, quite frankly, is great. As well as I've seen some of the different conversations and posts and so forth around it too. Only 4%, maybe 5% of all the acreage is going to be developed. And it's been put together with such thoughtfulness that it's blending all of this together with nature, with the environment and so forth. We've had this before our environmental commission. We've had this before our sustainability commission that we recently launched. Universally, we've had some very, very positive comments. Are there negative? Absolutely. There are a few here and there that you hear from folks around the city. But the overall survey that was put out, as well as the publicly attended sessions at the lake, have been very, very positive, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
All right. Well, just so that council knows, there are people that are going to get petitions signed and get a stay, court order stay, to stop this.
You'll have to do a referendum, which means you
Right.
got to get about, what, 5,000-6,000 signatures to get it on the
Not gonna be a
ballot?
problem, I don't think. If it is
Okay.
a problem, then that will be an
Well, that's
education to
fine.
me.
That is,
you
you're
know,
more
it's-
than welcome to do that
Right.
and get it on the ballot.
Yes, that's
And,
exactly what we would like.
Yeah, well, you'll have to do all the work. We're not
Yes.
going to do it for you.
Well, I'm
And,
not asking you to. I'm
yeah,
just asking the status of it, letting you know that there are people who have concerns and want to see it put to a vote. You know, we don't want to see the city sign a contractual agreement spending $1.5 million to move forward with this without a vote from everyone in this county and in this city saying, yes, we want to do that. We're going to abide by whatever, you know, if there's a vote, we're all fine for it. And with all due respect, I didn't come in here yelling and
I'm
being
sorry, it gets,
belligerent. That was very disrespectful to
well,
me
you
and
have my
everybody in this
sincere
room.
apology. I did not mean to get excited,
Yeah.
but I've had so much of this, and there's been so many people that have reached out to me. And once I explain to them what we're doing, they say, God, that sounds really nice. What I'm reading on Facebook, it's like, well, it's not what's happening is what you're reading on Facebook.
Right.
And that's what bothers me, and I'm sorry. I get emotional, I get excited because I love this city. I wouldn't be here if I didn't care about people and care about this community, and this is gonna be a major asset.
Okay,
So-
well, I'm in the exact position. I moved out here, I built out here. I have worked my butt off to sustain my property for 28 years. And in my retirement, I don't want to see something that's just going to destroy the
It's not gonna destroy.
aesthetics of the area that I chose to build in. And so, you know, I'm all about, you know, I really would, and this is, I'm going to raise my hand. This is my ignorance of not knowing that there were meetings and that they were surveys and that things were done. I very much would like, is it all strictly on the website, or can you guys provide me with, you know, like a diorama of, excuse me, even if it's just on paper, you know, so that those of us that don't know the ins and outs of it, you know, can get more educated, and so that we're not reliant on Facebook totally.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I think it's council's responsibility to make sure that, you know, you know, not responsibility, but be willing to help us educate ourselves a little bit easier.
So I can answer a portion of that question. A lot of it is on our website. If you would like, I'd be happy to sit down with you at any time.
Sure.
You can reach out to my office either tonight or in the morning.
Okay.
And we can set up some time to go over it. I
would
have no
love
issue.
that.
There is, everything I'll go over with you is publicly available on our website, but I'd be happy to sit down with you and go through
Okay.
that.
I would really
So,
like that.
My name's right here. If you
Yeah,
need, if you
got
need
it.
my card, I can hand it to you after the
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, great. Well,
Carol-
thank you very much. I
Carol-
appreciate your
thank you, and
time.
my apologies.
Carol,
Yes.
one other thing. This council never makes decisions without lots of information and data, nor do they spend taxpayer dollars in a way that is not going to benefit the overall city. You have to understand that. This council is very diligent about this. I do want, before you sit down, Carol, I do want to ask our legal director, what are the rules on that? from a petition and so forth?
The referendum provisions are in the charter, and there's a process by which they do. It's more involved than just with the charter. There has to be a proposal that's put together and then signed off on by a percentage of the voters at the last municipal election. And with that, it gets submitted then for an election. So there is a process,
Right.
and it's included, and there's, we're not
Yeah.
gonna tell you you can't do that.
Right,
You are
Okay.
absolutely entitled to
Yeah.
that process.
yes.
So.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other comments tonight? Yes, sir.
Mark Conter, 5772 Gray Road. I have a couple questions for you guys. A couple of meetings ago, Scott, I was sitting right over here, and we had a discussion back and forth, and you said the staff recommended a one-building solution to the compromise. And I'm assuming that that didn't get accepted, that the staff was overruled there for council to say that we're going forward full steam ahead. When it's on YouTube. I've watched it back a couple times.
So I believe what Mr. Conter is referencing is, if you recall from the master plan from Designing Local, it clearly shows two separate buildings with a significant amount of space in between them. During that conversation, I made reference to recommending one building. It's my opinion that what was presented by Mr. Sackenheim at the last meeting, it's one foundation. Are the buildings split with a breezeway in between? Sure, but with one common roof line, one common foundation. There's no recommendation for a building anywhere else located on the property. So, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was rejected. It was incorporated. And, as we worked with our design team, that entryway through the breezeway with the bait house there, if you're walking towards the lake on the left with the leasable space on your right, they felt that that was an entry point that added value to the aesthetic of the property. By also doing it the way they have, it has been able to provide for a roof line that is, somewhat discreet, so it doesn't take away from the area. So, sitting here tonight, I would tell you that I believe that recommendation has been upheld. I believe with one foundation and not two buildings separately located. I would argue that that is what has been proposed and is what is still being discussed.
A second question. I'm familiar with the restaurants over at the Summit Park, and just in the last recent article in the Business Courier, a couple of those restaurant owners were interviewed, and they're struggling over there. They're struggling for the same reasons that we're going to struggle here with a 6,000 square foot restaurant building. Our park is seasonal. Summit Park is really not as seasonal as ours. They're more year round, and their restaurants are struggling. We're going to squeeze that into an 8 or 9 month season. Has anybody done a feasibility study for what it's going to take to support a 6,000 square foot restaurant, bar, brew pub, tap room? Return on investment, how long before the city sees a return on the $6 million building? Anybody have have we done that feasibility study? Have we done a return on investment? Anybody know what that monthly lease payment's gonna take? Have we talked to anybody, any potential restaurant vendor, anybody that's gonna occupy that space?
Defer to Mr. Timmer and his leadership team to make sure those plans are formulated accurately. I think it's good recommendations to be taken in and to be listened to.
Okay. Can I ask you a favor, that we take a step back for a few months and do those things before we go full steam ahead? I mean, I don't mean to quote you there, Mayor.
It's okay. It's how I
But
feel.
I'm asking this as a favor to the community. That showed up tonight, that showed up at the last meeting, and made public statements at the last meeting. So we're concerned. Not everybody in our neighborhood knows about this. I know that you've said it's been one of the most visible things that we've ever done. But I've asked my neighbors, several of them are here tonight, that knew nothing about it. I see 3 of them sitting together right back here. And these people live on my street. So as far as, and know nothing about it means they knew nothing about it until they started seeing construction stuff going up into the park. So I know I took it upon myself to educate as many people as I could. I can't get to everybody. I don't have the resources to do that. But Wednesday, we'll have yard signs. We have a petition started. I'm just asking you guys common sense. Adam, you realize we need to do those things before we can make a $6 million investment. I know we need to do those things. When, you know we need to do those things. It's a $6 million investment. We should know when we're gonna have a return on that investment. We should know if a restaurant's gonna be able to feasibly survive in that situation without us supporting it. You know, we all know the bank situation. We knew what happened with Mahogany's down there. The city ended up supporting that building for years, and it was a non-profitable from the get-go. So I'm just asking you, can we take a step back? I mean, I'm asking, I know you guys. Forget the dais. Neighbors, friends, vendors. I've known some of you for 40 years. Can we take that step back? Is that something that we can do for just a couple months? Just a couple months. We've waited, like you said, 30 years. Take a couple months and let's go through, let's vet this one more time with our community, and maybe come up with a compromise that's something that everybody could live with and say, I'd love to cheerlead this project. I'd love to be the head cheerleader. People in here that visit the park every day, we appreciate some of the improvements that are going on over there. The loop trail that's going on, sign says closed. Many of us have walked it already, some with our park rangers. And it's a nice trail. The view's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice access for everybody. Everybody supports that. Restrooms, everybody supports that. New bait house, concessions, parking. This past weekend, the parking lot was full. There were people parked out on the grass. I don't know if anybody drove by, but the parking lot was full. And it's still early April. You know, in the middle of the season, that parking lot's gonna be full almost every weekend. A lot of that because of the work that our group has done, the Friends of Marsh Lake. We've promoted the heck out of that place to come fish, come walk, come take pictures, walk the dogs, you know, walk yourselves, bring your bicycles and your scooters and strollers. But we feel that the 6,000 square foot building, 14,000 square foot of roof is too much. And we just want you to step back a minute. Couple months. Give us till the November.
We will take it under advisement.
Would you keep in touch with me and let me know so I can, I mean, we have a community that's waiting and pending. Adam, I mean, anytime my garage door's open, Steve, you already know that. Pull in, let's talk about it. Let's see where you're at, see where it stands. Then I have one more question. Has anybody up there signed an NDA on this project? Non-disclosure?
You've submitted a public records request on that already. It's not exactly ready for you yet, but I
don't need all the
I can
answers, just
answer
that
that one, and the answer is no. There has been no NDAs.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you all.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments, questions for council? Okay, well, thank you. We will move on. Yes, sir.
I don't want to take people's time as far as listening to the PUD discussion. If people want to move on, that they're here for the dog thing, if they want to listen to my 10-minute spiel, they're more than welcome to, but I'm willing to wait till the end of this whole thing to talk to you guys. So you tell me how.
Well, I think we just had a meeting, what, a week or two ago? And there's been no changes or no progress, so nothing's happened.
I was kind of told that if I maybe come forward and educate maybe 5 other city council members that might not be up to snuff as far as.
Well, I think everybody is. I really do. I think we're okay right now. There's been no change, no movement or anything like that. We're not even still in the conceptual planning. It's nothing significant has happened yet. And we'll let you know.
Gary, go ahead, I apologize. That being said, you still have a right to say something, Gary, so if you'd like to come up and have some time.
It's going to be a regurgitation of a semi-Scott Kenner meeting.
Understood.
To educate.
The other council members, maybe I'll wait a little bit and bring it back later. Coming to city council might be an opportunity to get on record.
Well, why don't we do this? When we see this come up on the agenda again, we'll reach out and make sure that you, your neighbors are aware, and you can come in and that would be a great time to talk about it again, once there's been something that, has happened. But you're more than welcome, if you'd like to speak again, that's fine.
I-
Take anybody's time.
Yeah.
Jen's already told me I can throw him under the bus.
Yeah, yeah.
I can throw him under the bus.
Mr. Webb, I did want to point out to you
But
that
maybe we'll wait to do that.
That sounds good.
one of the
Thank you.
things I want you to be aware of is this was part of a rezoning process, and it was a plan unit, so the concept plan has already been approved. So to a certain degree, if you're asking this council to take some steps to backtrack that, that may not legally be possible at this point. I'm sorry? Yeah, the PUD. It's been approved, so, yeah, okay. And I want you to be aware that I understand you want to address this council, but they aren't really in a position where they can necessarily unapprove it. Okay, okay. Yeah, there will be a final development plan, and that's the process where you would want to definitely have input at that point, so, yeah, I got you. I just want to make sure you understand the legal process that has happened and is yet to happen, so. Yeah, gotcha.
Again,
Writing documents.
yeah, Gary, again, don't be deterred to come up and take your minutes.
I don't want to take 10 minutes to speak this time.
Understood.
We'll do it in the right time.
Okay.
That sounds good.
You and Tim help me with what that right time is.
Well, our lines of communication will stay open as they have been, so, yeah, by all means.
And that young man called Adam Kraft there, has been with me 24/7 for the last 8 months, so.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Gary.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Okay, seeing nothing else, council reports. Councilmember Bezel.
No report, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Pennington.
Yes, I do have one item for Public Works. The sidewalk project on the north end of Route 4 is in progress and should be wrapped up by early May. This project will fill the sidewalk gap between Sims Road and the city of Hamilton, and that will make the section of Route 4 more walkable. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple updates. I might exceed my time limit, but I'll try and make it as brief as possible. The Huffman Garden refresh is almost complete thanks to the generous donation from the Fairfield Foundation. We increased from 16 gardens to 34 and will be installing a fence soon as well. Number two, summer camp registration is also open, so be sure to go to the website before those spots fill up. I know these are very popular programs. They're very well done, and a lot of people benefit from these. So again, as being a father of two that's gone through this process, these fill up very quickly. We found that out the hard way 1 or 2 summers in a row. Also, the Environmental Commission will be hosting a honeysuckle removal event this Saturday from 9 to 12. They will be removing honeysuckle along the Great Miami Trail. Please meet at Fairfield Youth Football. Be sure to dress accordingly. Having never done this, but having plenty of honeysuckle to take care of, it can be very rewarding to take frustrations out on annoying vegetation. Finally, Public Works contractors completed the 6 new shelters Lower Harbin Park, and Public Work crews are removing the old shelters and concrete. Some concrete work will take place this week in Harbin Park, and paving is scheduled for most of the parking, driveway, and older section of the paved trail in early April and May. That's all I have, sir. Thank you very much.
The new tennis court at Harbin that you guys put in, it's like tennis and pickleball, right? It's phenomenal.
It's striped for both, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Councilmember Myers.
Thank you. From Public Utilities, I do have one message to read for Jason. Nighttime water utility work is scheduled for Winton Road between Mack Road and John Gray from April 15th through the 17th, weather permitting, of course. The road will be closed between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. to all traffic on Winton Road between Mack and John Gray. A detour will be posted routing traffic from John Gray to Pleasant Avenue to Reserve. You got all that. The city of Fairfield will place a portable message sign warning of traffic in the upcoming week. And there's a sketch. I don't know if is that going on the web? It is? Okay. So hit the Fairfield website, which always has a ton of information for that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Brill. Thank you. Councilmember Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to give a little shout out for the mask tournament that was ran over the weekend. I thought it was very, very well done. I had stopped by to watch a family member play on Saturday. Was able to get in and out very easily. Thought the traffic was great. So great job by Fairfield Police Department on running the traffic. I know this was the most participants we've ever had at the tournament, and I've heard from a lot of the neighbors that live around that area that the traffic flow, the problems that they've had in the past were non-existent. So as we're growing with more, we're having less issues. So I think that's just a job well done by the police department. And again, kudos to the Optimist Club on running another great tournament and bringing so many people from all around the country to Fairfield. So.
There was a lot of kids there, that's for sure. So, thanks, Councilmember. Next, we have the regular meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2026 in the packets. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections to those? We'll let those stand as written and submitted. Old business, Councilmember Brill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance amending ordinance number 166-84, the codified ordinances of Fairfield, Ohio, section 1130.01B2, the City of Fairfield, Ohio zoning map. This legislation will hold as a second reading pending Planning Commission recommendations.
Thank you, Councilmember. Now I need a motion to read all new business by title only.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read all new business by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, Community and Public Relations. I think we'll go straight to Councilmember Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a simple motion to approve the following 2026 boards and commission appointments effective April 13th, 2026. Gail Willis for Planning Commission, partial term expiring 3/31/27. Dan Murray, Sustainability Commission, partial term expiring 3/31/28. Marie Wigan, Sustainability Commission, partial term expiring 3/31/27. And Andy Barlow, Sustainability Commission, partial term expiring 3/31/27.
Second.
We have a simple motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Councilmember. Next, Development Services. Mr. Timmer, please.
We have one ordinance and a public hearing tonight under Development Services. The ordinance is to authorize the city manager to execute a Community Reinvestment Area Agreement and Community Reinvestment Area School Compensation Agreement with G&W Products Incorporated and E&Z LLC. At that time, Development Specialist Eva Joseph will provide additional details. At this time, I'll turn it over to Planning Manager Aaron Lynn for the joint public hearing. Thank you.
We'll need first to read the public hearing notice. Roll call for Planning Commission. I'm sorry, I'm still working my way back. We need to roll call for Planning Commission, please.
Commissioner Lipsky. Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner Hassler. Commissioner Willis. Commissioner Brill. Commissioner Myers. And Commissioner Robertson.
We have a motion and a second to excuse Commissioner Robinson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Now, I guess we read the joint for the public hearing notice, please.
All property owners and citizens of Fairfield, Ohio are hereby notified that a joint public hearing between the Planning Commission and City Council has been scheduled for 7:00 p.m. on Monday, April 13th, 2026 at the Fairfield Municipal Building at 5350 Pleasant Avenue, Fairfield, Ohio, 45014. The purpose of the hearing is to solicit citizen input regarding the submission of a rezoning request for 6638 and 6660 Dixie Highway, parcel ID A070015000043 and A070015000009. The request is to rezone the parcels from M2 General Industrial District to C3A General Business District Modified. Parties that wish to review the application may do so by visiting the Development Services Department located at the Fairfield Municipal Building or on the Development Services page on the city website at www.fairfield-city.org/162/development-services. Questions may be directed to the department by telephone at 513-867-5345 or via email at development@fairfieldoh.gov. The department is open Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Lynn?
Can we get the PowerPoint switched over, please? Thank you. So as Alicia stated, this is a request to rezone 2 parcels of property at the northwest corner of Seward and Dixie Highway from M2 General Industrial to C3A General Business. So the 2 parcels, the one on the left, this is about 1.7 acre parcel that contained the former Frisch's restaurant. The site has been vacant since November of '24. And then the one at the immediate corner is a 2 to 3 story office building that was constructed in the late 1970s. And it's about much smaller than, it's about 0.8 acres. This is just some photos of the site. These were actually taken off of Google, which is why there are 2 different weather forecasts. It was the only way I could get both pictures in and without getting run over on the roadway. The top is Dixie Highway viewpoint. You can see the Frisch's and the office building, and then the bottom is from Seward Drive or Seward Road, where you can see the office building, and the curb cut back here is the one that's for, that gets you to the Frisch's. This is the future land use map out of the Fairfield Forward Comprehensive Plan. The comprehensive plan does designate Route 4 as a major commercial corridor. The recommended land use for this, including this corridor, including the 2 subject parcels, is general commercial. If you can kind of see that the hot pink area, that represents really the general commercial land use. And I just kind of put a black line outlining the kind of the perimeters of that. And then this is Dixie, and obviously there is the subject site. The corridor is used mainly for commercial purposes. There is some industrial located at the northern end where the Fisher Body plant is located. This is a very similar map. It's the zoning map. The same thing here. The pink area is really your C3 and C3A zoning district. It's mostly C3A in this area. The only difference between the C3 and C3A is the setback requirement. Everything else, including the uses, remains the same. On the north side of Route 4, beyond the commercial, is typically all of our industrial, and then south of Route 4, beyond the commercial, is mostly our residential. Down at the bottom where you see blue and it says a PUD, that's the Stockton Station PUD. And again, that has commercial along Route 4 and then residential behind it. As the corridor developed years ago, most of the M1 and the M2 industrial classifications has changed to commercial. There are some parcels, however, that have retained their original zoning, industrial and zoning classification, even though they're operating as a commercial use. Technically, well, not technically, commercial and office uses are not permitted in the M2. So the former Frisch's actually lost its non-conforming status, so they can no longer go back and operate as a restaurant at that location. And then the office is legally non-conforming, but an industrial user can go in and locate at the Frisch's site. In the past, we have supported these type of zone changes in order to protect the commercial corridor and to protect the integrity of the Route 4 corridor as a commercial destination place in the years past. And what I want to share with you with these next 2 slides quickly is that this is a table of those rezonings that we've done in the last 25 years. All but one went from an industrial zoning district to the C3 or C3A. Believe it or not, 2 residential subdivisions on the west side were zoned industrial. And then the most recent one at the very bottom, number 9, that was done when we updated the zoning code in 2024. We rezoned all the property that's zoned ST, which is service transition, which allows both commercial and industrial uses. And I'm going to take this table and just kind of show you on this slide where they're at, located on Route 4. So on the left slide, starting towards the top, this up here is where we had, as this production, we had the Weaver Barnes AutoZone and the Drive Time. And then you come a little farther south, and that portion of Whitmore Estates was zoned M1. So it was quite shocking to go back and look at this. I knew that, but it's been since 1999 when that was rezoned, surrounded by residential. So we were happy to see that no industrial user located there. Then on the other photo, or the other area on the right, you can see again Stockton Station as well. Part of that was M1. In front of it, along between that and Dixie Highway, was zoned commercial. And then across the street from that, there was 5 businesses, 4 hotels, and an office that was zoned service transition. They all, when this was zoned in 1993 to ST, they were all vacant properties. They all went commercial. So when we did the update, we felt it was appropriate to rezone them to commercial. And then there's some just small one-off ones as you go farther south. First choice on the left was actually zoned residential R1, and I think we can all agree that's not appropriate on Route 4. A portion of the Quick Trip was zoned M2, and then the Shell gas station at the southern end. There still are a few more pieces here and there, and when those time comes to get those zoned to commercial, they'll probably be back before you. I have one other slide before we get to the usual calendar, but I'm going to let Greg address that.
Just real quickly, I wanted to add on to what Aaron presented. As Aaron mentioned, both of the properties, Frisch's and the office building, were both built in the 1970s. We did a little bit of research. As far as we can tell, those properties have always been M2 general industrial. We don't know why they weren't rezoned in the 70s when they were built, or at any time since then. We have been looking, and there's no records that we could find about that. So as Aaron mentioned, both have been operating as legally non-conforming uses since then. The Frisch's, as Aaron mentioned, went out of business in 2024. In our zoning code, the property loses its grandfathered status as a legal non-conforming use after 6 months. So at some point in 2025, Frisch's lost its legal non-conforming status. That means that now only an industrial user can use that property. So a restaurant or another retail use, if they show up at our office tomorrow and want to pull a permit to reopen a restaurant, we cannot approve that without a zone change. So the owner and the real estate representatives representing the old Frisch's property, they recognize that this greatly hinders their ability to lease or sell their property to another user. And the site nor the building is conducive for an industrial use. I think we all recognize that. Nor, as Aaron stated earlier, would an industrial user match the future land use map that's called for in our comprehensive plan. So since the property was listed about 9 months or so ago, it's been at least 9 months that's been offered. Our office has talked with a number of interested parties over that time. Some of those people that have called have indicated a desire to reopen the closed Frisch's store. Some were just real estate speculators looking for an investment property. They thought this could be a good deal for them. Some people were thinking a little bigger and looking at that corner as a combined development opportunity. We've talked with people, proposals running the gamut. So at this time, we do not have a permit or a site plan application for any end user for this property. The rezoning applications were signed and submitted by the 2 property owners. So there's not a pending project that has been submitted to the city at this time.
Why are you doing this then?
Because the Frisch's can't be marketed as a retail user or a restaurant user.
So go to a C1 instead of a C3. Why not do that?
Well, our future land use maps recommends that it be a general commercial zoning district.
But C1 would give you the same, gives you the same, takes it out of the industrial, takes you to commercial.
There's no C1 anywhere on Route 4, and
Okay.
there's also when you look at our land use table, the table of uses that would be allowed in the C1 district are very limited on Route 4. So that was not the request by the property owners.
And you've offered that to the property owner to go with a C1 instead of a C3?
they requested C3, and we thought that was appropriate based on the comprehensive plan and the surrounding properties.
You have no idea what's gonna go in there or what people are looking at from who would purchase that property?
There's rumors out there, but we deal with facts and applications.
Sure.
And so we have not received any pending application at this
None,
time.
okay.
We talk to a lot of folks, and a lot of people present ideas, and they call all the time, and deals sometimes happen, and more often they don't happen. So just to close up here, Aaron always puts this slide together at the end. So this is the meeting schedule. Obviously, the first reading was at the last council meeting. We're at the joint public hearing tonight. Planning Commission is set to hear this case next week, next Wednesday, 6 o'clock in this room. And then should they make a decision that night, it would get referred back to City Council for second reading on April 27th and a third reading and potential vote on May 11th.
I have a stupid question, Greg, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, because you know me. So if we change this zoning, does that mean a gas station can go in there, or a used car dealership, or does that open the door for that?
So in the you look at the land use table that's in our comprehensive plan, and there are certain uses that are permitted, there are certain uses that are conditional, and there's other uses that are not allowed in that zoning district. So the examples you just used, motor vehicle fueling stations, in our code, they're called motor vehicle fueling stations. Those are permitted uses on Route 4 in a C3 and C3A. So that would potentially be allowed. Used car lots, we would have to, those are allowed. So this would be a condition, motor vehicle sales yards would be a conditional use in that location. So we have some criteria that the Planning Commission would consider. Yeah, so this is south of the bypass. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my streets here. So this is south of the bypass, so it would not qualify as a conditional use application. So used car lots would not be permitted. Some other uses would not be permitted. Other uses, office, retail, fueling stations are permitted uses.
Leslie, that's why I recommended looking at the C1, which does not allow that. From bypass 4 to Crescentville, there are 108 gas pumps in that mile and whatever, 3/4, 2 mile, whatever it is, 108 gas pumps. So that's why I was making that comment there. So.
Just a clarification, not that it's a big deal. You made reference to the comprehensive plan. You were really referring to the zoning code.
Yes, the comprehensive
I
plan.
don't know that anybody knows that but you and me, but
Yes.
just for
Thank you,
clarification.
I apologize.
It's the zoning code that sets the
Zoning code
uses.
has the use tables, yes, I apologize.
So it goes to the Planning Commission, right, for their recommendation to council?
The next step in this process, as outlined in our charter, is that it goes to Planning Commission for recommendation back to council.
Are there any other questions or comments from council?
I'll just make a comment that I'm looking forward to receiving the recommendation from Planning Council on this specific zoning change.
And now, are there any questions or comments from Planning Commission? None? Anybody in the audience? Okay, then we'll go ahead and close out this public hearing, and thank you for your time. Planning Commission, it's always a pleasure, and appreciate all that you do. Okay, let's see, Development Services, Mr. Timmer, anything else, or did you cover?
We still have the ordinance, and I believe Eva is going to present that particular ordinance. So she has additional information there.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I apologize in advance for my potentially short breath. I remember that. I am excited to be with you tonight to highlight a new economic development project. G&W Products plans to expand an existing facility in the city on Seward Road. G&W is a metal fabrication manufacturing company headquartered in Fairfield. The company proposes expanding a 120,000 square foot building located on 8.7 acres at 8675 Seward Road. I'm so sorry. G&W proposes to construct an addition, measuring approximately 17,000 square feet. This project represents a more than $3.1 million investment in Fairfield. This includes investment of $700,000 in new machinery and equipment. In addition to retaining 194 employees, G&W plans to hire at least 10 new employees within 3 years of project completion. Impressively, the company has already added several dozen new employees in 2025, which are included in that existing job count of 194. Anticipated future payroll is expected to exceed $15.2 million annually. To facilitate this expansion, G&W is requesting a community revitalization area, or CRA, tax abatement. Based on our tax incentive guidelines, we are recommending a 70% 5-year tax abatement on the assessed value of the building and expansion. G&W has agreed to make annual payments to compensate the Fairfield City School District and Butler Tech during the abatement period. The Board of Education of the Fairfield City School District approved this payment as part of the school compensation agreement on April 9th. Approval of this item on tonight's Development Services agenda authorizes the city manager to execute agreements to facilitate the proposed tax abatement. And with that, I would like to introduce Gary Johns, owner and CEO of G&W. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. I also have with me Jeremy Hayes, who's our CFO. G&W Products is on 8675 Seward Road, so just down from the property that we were talking about shortly. The business was founded in Hamilton 58 years ago and moved a couple times. I think it moved to Fairfield probably about 30 years ago. I actually acquired the company just a little less than 20 years ago. We have expanded it to 2 additional buildings since that time. We're in the metal fab and stamping business. 50% of our work goes to the defense industry. So like AM General is the manufacturer of Humvees. We have about 60 components that go on each Humvee. BAE makes the HIMARS, which you see on the news a lot, that has the missile protection. We have about 25 parts on that equipment. So we do 50% defense. The other 50% is commercial business. Schneider Electric, they used to have a facility in Hamilton. They had one in Middletown. They have one in Oxford. We still sell the one in Oxford. We do business with 13 plants for Schneider across the United States and Mexico. We have about 7 large customers is what we focus on. Our revenues will be somewhere in the 55 million range this year. Wabash trailers, so a lot of the trailers you see going up and down a road on the semi is a Wabash trailer. Our parts are probably on that. We do anything from a small stamping size to a large frame of a mining truck and or the Humvee frames. We have roughly 200 associates, as she mentioned. We've added about 60 of those probably in the last 3 or 4 years. We're on a nice growth path and we need additional space, and hence that's why we're looking to increase the additional 17,000 square feet off the front of our building. We're getting a little landlocked in that particular site. Thank you. Any questions?
That's great. No, thank you for coming in. Love to see the expansion. Thanks for being in Fairfield.
Yep.
So we're really glad you're here.
It's been great. Been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a community reinvestment area agreement and a community reinvestment area school compensation agreement, which will provide property tax incentives for G&W Products, Inc. and E&Z LLC to expand an existing building on Seward Road and declaring an emergency. I'd like to make a motion to suspend second and third readings.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And a motion for adoption.
Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? Comments from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Councilmember Brill. Next, we have Parks and Recreation, Mr. Timmer.
We have 2 ordinances tonight for Parks and Recreation. The first ordinance is to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with Davie Resource Group for a comprehensive citywide tree inventory and detailed tree risk assessment. This project will involve the identification, mapping, and cataloging of trees located within public right-of-ways, along with an evaluation of each tree's species, size, condition, and structural integrity. The assessment will assist us in improving the safety and health of the city's urban forest. The second ordinance is to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with Pruce Construction for construction manager at-risk services. This contract is to advance the Marsh Park Improvements Project, specifically for pre-construction services, including cost estimating, scheduling, and constructability reviews. This process is intended to ensure the project remains within budget and in line with the construction timeline for planned park enhancements. Thank you.
Councilmember Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with Davie Resource Group for the purpose of conducting comprehensive citywide tree inventory and detailed tree risk assessment for the city of Fairfield and declaring an emergency. I'd like to make a motion to suspend second and third readings.
Second.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And make the motion for adoption.
Second. Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? Comments from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Second ordinance I have is to authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with Pruce Construction Co. for the construction manager at risk or CMR services as related to the advancement of Marsh Park Improvements Project and declaring an emergency. Make a note, this is legislation that will stand as the first reading.
So because it's emergency, it can stand as a first reading. Okay.
Detailed that it is beneficial to allow it to go through the process for the 3 readings for input from the public. There is a timeline component that makes it essential to, or advantageous to begin the process at the completion of that immediately rather than waiting 30 days after that. And that's been recommended by some of our experts.
Okay, it just caught me off guard that it's
Yeah.
an emergency.
It is a little bit unusual, so.
Thanks, Nancy. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Now we go to Public Utilities. Mr. Timmer.
We have one ordinance tonight for public utilities. The ordinance is to authorize the sale of Tract A in the Stockton Heights subdivision to Kimberly Kiger. In exchange, the city will receive a permanent easement to ensure continued legal access for the operation and maintenance of an existing public water main. Thank you.
Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract and such other documents necessary to complete the sale of Track A in Stockton Heights subdivision to Kimberly Kiger and receive in exchange a permanent easement for the public water main upon said property and adjacent lot number 2964 in the city of Fairfield. This time I'd like to make a motion to suspend the second and third readings, please.
Second.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Motion to adopt.
Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? Audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, we have Public Works. Mr. Timmer, please.
We have 2 ordinances tonight for Public Works. The first ordinance is to authorize a contract with Pro Shot Concrete Incorporated for corrugated metal pipe invert lining to repair a 60-inch storm sewer under Crestview Drive. This specialized repair is necessary to address pipe failure and prevent potential issues from impacting the roadway and adjacent properties. The second ordinance is to authorize a contract with Tim Lally Chevrolet for the purchase of 4 Chevrolet Tahoes for the police department. These vehicles will replace aging patrol units and are being secured through state contract pricing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timmer. Councilmember Pennington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 ordinances. The first one is an ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Pro Shot Concrete Incorporated for storm sewer repair, corrugated metal pipe, invert lining, and declaring an emergency. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the second and third readings.
Second.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the second ordinance is to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Tim Alley Chevrolet for the purchase of 4 Chevrolet Tahoes for the police department and declaring an emergency. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the second and third readings.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion and second for adoption. Any comments from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I would need to, do you mind if I check and get back to you real quick? Or do you want it before you guys do your vote? I say it may be in the council letter, which I'm attempting to navigate while.
Yeah, I think.
And I don't know offhand, and I should, but normally they are either handed down or sold on Gov Deals, but a lot of times they're repurposed for other things within the fleet before they're ultimately sold on Gov Deals. I think so.
It does reference it. It says the vehicles that are being replaced are detailed below and will be cycled through the police fleet to be used by school resource officers, a traffic reconstruction vehicle, and a police recruitment vehicle.
I just wanted to bring back a point that Mayor brought up a couple of times. Something that we definitely should do, have the ability to have a unit that's not in the service, maybe be able to use that as a vehicle. I have seen it in nearby cities that have caused me to significantly slow down on Sims Road and bypass 4 over the last week. And I think it's a great idea. Same one's been there, and it doesn't move, and it was raining and the wipers weren't on, so.
They haven't cut the grass around it, it's just kind of.
It definitely will slow down. Came up on my Google Maps, at least protect that and fiber something we definitely need to look into, especially when we're getting a lot of complaints, I'm getting a lot of calls, especially on the Dillon Road in the mornings with the school traffic and everyone running around the kids' office. I see people fly by, coming out of there like crazy and up and down Pleasant. I have young kids that I run in with neighborhoods all the time, and they're advising me with the speed safety on Pleasant. So I think that would be a great thing to do that, and, you know, we have 4 new ones, find a way to repurpose vehicles.
Thank you. It's an excellent deterrent. So now we're up for the vote on adoption. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, council member. Next, for finance and budget, Mr. Timmer.
We have 2 ordinances tonight for finance and budget. Both ordinances are for appropriations. The contractual appropriations total $2,119,064 and include 4 projects in the Parks and Recreation and Public Works departments. The non-contractual appropriations total $370,034 and cover 9 separate items in the Public Works, Public Utilities, Parks and Recreation, and Fire departments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timmer. Councilmember Bezel.
Thank you. I have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 148-25 entitled an ordinance to make estimated appropriations for the expenses and other expenditures of the city of Fairfield, Ohio during a period beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the second and third readings, please.
Second.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And move to adopt.
Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And I have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 148-25 entitled an ordinance to make estimated appropriations for the expenses and other expenditures of the city of Fairfield, Ohio during a period beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the second and third readings, please.
Second.
Motion is second, suspend second, third reading. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And move to adopt.
Second. Motion is second for adoption. Any comments from council? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, council member. Next, we'll have the meeting schedule, Madam Clerk, please.
Monday, April 27th, council manager briefing 6 p.m., regular meeting 7 p.m. Monday, May 11th, council manager briefing 6 p.m., regular meeting 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 26th, council manager briefing 6 p.m., regular meeting 7 p.m.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now we will move or go to executive session.